Hello there, everybody. This is the Strat-O-Matic Baseball 1986 MLB replay. We are entering our 6th week, and let's see how we did. So, this is week 6. So, this is from May 12th through May 18th. And as of the 12th, these are the division leaders. The American League. Got the Baltimore Orioles at 16-12, and they are in first place by a half a game. In the Central, it's the Chicago White Sox at 14-14. They're in the lead by a half a game. And then the West, the California Angels, they're 21-11, and they're up by a half a game. In the National League, we got the New York Mets, who are 20-8, and they're up by 5.5 games. The Central is Cincinnati Reds. They're at 14-14. They're up by 2.5 games. In the West is the Los Angeles Dodgers at 22-11, and they are up by 3.5 games. So these are your leaders heading into this week. Let's see if by the end of the week these guys are still in the lead, or if the contenders have chipped away some of their leads. So let's go on to Monday, May 12th. So we got starting pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, Joe Cawley, carries the White Sox to a victory, 6-1 over the Baltimore Orioles. Don Sutton collected his 300th victory versus the Red Sox, 4-3. Texas Rangers prevail in sloppy game in extras, 5-4 over Cleveland in 10. Starting pitcher for the Houston Astros, Jim DeShays, has 16 strikeouts, but can't stop the surging Phils, 3-1 in 11. Kansas City second baseman Frank White, 4 hits, powers the Royals to victory over the Detroit Tigers, 7-4. Twins third baseman Gary Gaetti's late home run sinks the Yankees, 4-3. Starting pitcher for Montreal, Jay Tibb, pitches the Expos to victory over the Reds, 3-1. Starting pitcher for the Mets, Sid Fernandez, hits the Atlanta Braves in their victory, 3-0. The bottom of the Oakland A's lineup carries them to their victory over Toronto Blue Jays, 7-5. And in a wild game, the M's outslugged the Brewers in a 19-10 victory. Tuesday, May 13th. Baltimore's third baseman Floyd Rayford's 2-run homer in the 6th propels the O's over the White Sox, 5-4. The California Angels bullpen shuts the door on the Red Sox late in California's victory, 5-4 over the Red Sox. Chicago starting pitcher Dennis Eckersley spins a gem over the San Francisco Giants, 5-1. Rangers third baseman Steve Buechele's 2-run homer is enough to push the Rangers past the Tribe, 3-2. The Astros' 7-run 7th stops the Phillies' streak at 5 games. Houston wins 11-10 over the Phillies. Royals starting pitcher Brett Saberhagen slows the Detroit Tigers in victory. Kansas City 7-1 over the Tigers. The Twins' 5-run 5th puts the Yankees away again. Minnesota wins 12-10. 8. The Expos lineup all get a hit in their victory over the Cincinnati Reds, 9-5. Braves left fielder Gerald Perry's triple in the 9th carries the Braves to a shocking win over the Mets, 9-6. The heart of the Blue Jays lineup gets 9 RBIs in their victory over the Athletics, 14-10. Pirates starting pitcher Rick Ruschel slows down the Pirates in a victory, 5-2. Seattle's late inning surge sinks the Brewers, 9-4. And Dodgers starting pitcher Rick Honeycutt shuts out the Cardinals, 2-0. Wednesday, May 14th. The Twins' 4-run second is enough for the win, and Minnesota's beaten the Orioles 5-2. And yet again, the same result. Red Sox against Angels. Angels win again, 4-3. Chicago's starting pitcher Scott Sanderson blanks the Giants, 6-0. The Rangers' 5th inning is way too much for the Detroit Tigers to overcome. Rangers beat Detroit 11-3. In a pitching duel between the Mets and the Astros starting pitcher Nolan Ryan outduels the Mets starting pitcher Dwight Gooden in a little bit of a classic. Houston wins 6-4. Cleveland center fielder Brett Butler's RBI single late dooms the Kansas City Royals. Cleveland wins 8-7. Back-to-back home runs helped the Expos to a 4-2 victory over the Atlanta Braves. Yankees overcome 4 runs to win 5-4 over the White Sox. Oakland A's hit 5 home runs in their victory over the Blue Jays, 9-7. Cincinnati's left fielder Eddie Milner's triple late ruins the night for the Phillies and carries the Reds to victory, 5-1. The San Diego Padres tee off on starting pitcher for the Pirates Rick Rhoden in one of his worst starts of the season. San Diego beats the Pirates 8-3. Seattle wins on a walk-off sacrifice fly over the Brewers. Mariners win 6-5. In his first start from being off the DL, Fernando Valenzuela shuts down the Cards 2-1. Thursday, May 15th. The Baltimore Orioles outslugged the Twins in a pretty high-scoring game. Orioles win 14-10. Texas has yet another big inning that sinks the Tigers' bullpen. Texas wins again over the Tigers, 12-4. New York Mets pounce all over starting pitcher Mike Scott for the Astros, and they blank them as well. Mets over the Stros, 5-0. Cleveland starting pitcher Don Schultz blanks the Kansas City Royals 4-0. Expos starting pitcher Bryn Smith limits the Braves to only 1 run in the Expos 6-1 victory over the Braves. The Yanks offense comes alive and batters White Sox starting pitcher Richard Dotson in a rout. Yankees win 14-2 over the White Sox. The Phillies hold off the Reds surge with 1 in the 10th. Phillies win in extras 6-5 over the Reds. Friday, May 16th. Atlanta's catcher Ted Simmons hits his second grand slam in the year, which clips the Cardinals. Braves win 7-4. Baltimore starting pitcher Mike Boddicker 2 hits the A's in the Baltimore's 6-1 victory. Red Sox center fielder Steve Lyons triples late to help the Red Sox shock the Rangers 9-8. Kansas City starting pitcher Danny Jackson shuts down the White Sox 3-0. Cincinnati left fielder Nick Esaski solo home run sinks the Pirates late. Reds win 4-3. Angels walk to victory over the Tigers 9-5. Angels collect 8 walks during that game. Houston's first baseman Glenn Davis hits a walk-off homer in extras as they beat the Cubs 3-2 in 10. Mets take the first game of the Battle of the NL Best 12-5 over the Dodgers. Minnesota's starting pitcher Mark Portugal shuts down the Brewers 8-0. M's late heroics push past the Yanks 6-5. And the Expos tiptoe past the Padres 2-1 in San Diego. Philadelphia starting pitcher Shane Raleigh limits the Giants and carries them to victory. Phillies win 2-1. Toronto's outfielder George Bell goes 4 for 4 in their victory over the Indians. Blue Jays win 7-3. Saturday, May 17th. Starting pitcher for the Braves, Rick Mahler, shuts down the Cards 2-0. The A's 3-run 7th downs the O's. Oakland wins 5-1. In an error-filled 6th inning, dooms the Rangers in a costly loss to the Red Sox. Red Sox win 7-6. Kansas City walks 5 batters in the second, which all end up scoring, which helps the Chicago White Sox beat the Royals 9-4. Pittsburgh Pirates 6-run second secures their victory over the Cincinnati Reds 8-4. 3 home runs power the Tigers over the Angels 6-2. In the loss, rookie first baseman Wally Joyner hit streak is ended at 17 games. Astros 6-run 7th traps the Cubs 10-1. Dodgers starting pitcher Bob Welch outduels the Mets' Sid Fernandez in a slight classic, Dodgers over the Mets 2-1. Twins starting pitcher Frank Viola shuts down Milwaukee handedly in the Twins' 4-0 win over the Brewers. Yankees' 5-run first sets the tone in their win over the Mariners 12-2. San Diego holds off a wild Expos ninth inning for the victory. San Diego over the Expos 5-3. San Francisco's catcher Bob Melvin has a walk-off single in extras for the victory over the Phillies. San Francisco wins 4-3 in 11. The Cleveland Indians score 4 runs in the first, which is good enough to carry them to victory over the Blue Jays 4-2. And in the final day of this week, Cardinals starting pitcher are doomed by walks and home runs. Atlanta Braves win 7-2. A's late grand slam, not enough to win. Orioles hold on. The surging Athletics 10-7. And in a game of longevity, starting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, Roger Clemens, has a masterful game against the Texas Rangers. Boston wins in 15, 2-1. Kansas City Royals have a 3-run eighth, which propels them to victory over the Chicago White Sox 5-3. Cincinnati's Nick Esaski does it again with a 2-run homer, putting the Reds over the Pirates 3-2. Angels bats come alive at the end to secure a victory over the Detroit Tigers 11-3. Houston Astros closer Dave Smith blows the game in the ninth and then ends up blowing the game completely to the Cubs 4-2. Dodgers rally in the ninth, comes up just a little bit short in their loss to the Mets 6-5. Back-to-back home runs in the sixth carry the Twins to victory 6-4 over the Milwaukee Brewers. In one of the best starts for the Mariners this season, starting pitcher Mike Morgan shuts down the Yankees 6-1. Montreal's right fielder Andre Dawson has 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in their 7-5 victory over the San Diego Padres. Philadelphia Phillies third baseman Mike Schmidt is a home run shy of the cycle in their win over the Giants 10-2 in one of Schmidt's better games this year. And the final game of the week, the Cleveland Indians starting pitcher Ken Schrom shuts down the Blue Jays in his best start of the year. Indians win 6-1. And here is the summary of the week 6. Our top teams: Minnesota Twins go 6-1 for the week. The Montreal Expos go 6-1. California Angels go 5-1. The Seattle Mariners, not the Seattle Mariners Reds, the Seattle Mariners go 5-1. The Philadelphia Phillies 4-3. And the teams that didn't do so well this week: The Milwaukee Brewers 0-6. St. Louis Cardinals 0-5. Detroit Tigers 1-6. San Francisco Giants 1-4. And the Chicago White Sox 2-5. And our standings as of May 18th in the American League. Hope you guys can see this. Looks like the Orioles are still in first place. They're up a game and a half over the Yankees. Minnesota Twins overtook the White Sox this week with their good week. They're up a game and a half over the Royals and 3 games over the White Sox. And in the West, the Angels still hold on, and they're up by 2 games after the Rangers get a costly sweep in Boston. So Angels up by 2 games, and Angels by far the best team in the American League. Now the power rankings. California Angels are number 1, the Rangers being 2, Baltimore Orioles 3, Minnesota Twins are 4, Oakland Athletics are 5th, New York Yankees are 6th, Kansas City Royals are 7th, Cleveland Indians are 8th, Boston Red Sox are 9th, Toronto Blue Jays are 10th, Chicago White Sox are 11th, Detroit Tigers are 12th, Seattle Mariners are 13th, and the Milwaukee Brewers are 14th. Now they continue to the National League. National League. The Mets are up by 3.5 games over the Montreal Expos. Cincinnati Reds are still holding on in that terrible Central Division. They're up by a game and a half on the Chicago Cubs. And out west, the Dodgers are up over the Astros by 3.5 games. And that one's going to be a nail biter there. Power rankings for the National League. We got the Mets at number 1 pretty much all year. Dodgers 2. Expos are 3. Astros are 4th. Padres 5th. Phillies are 6th. They've had a strong 2 weeks. Pirates 7th. Reds are 8th. Cubs are 9th. Giants are the 10th. Braves 11th. And the St. Louis Cardinals all the way down the bottom in the 12th. Here is some team stats for the American League. I'll just mention a couple of them here. You guys could look through this by putting this on pause and going through. Still one of the tough lineups are the Cleveland Indians. If the Indians had a decent starting pitching staff, they would be probably cleaning up in the American League. 303 team batting average, lead most of the categories and everything. They are a tough team. It's just that they score a lot, but their pitching gives up a lot too. As for the pitching, California Angels, 2.82 ERA. They are not giving up that many runs. They are winning the close games. And their offense, even though it's kind of towards the bottom, they're holding on. So this is going to be a good look at their stats all the way through the 18th. So Cleveland Indians, the best hitting team. California Angels, best pitching team. As for the National League, We got San Diego Padres, who are hitting the cover off the ball. 282 team average. Again, just like the Indians, they just had a slightly better pitching staff. They would be doing a lot better than they are. The Mets, they had a little bit of a rough week. Their ERA is finally over 3 at 3.06. But they're still dominating whoever they play. Their starters are going late into the game, 7th, 8th innings, and they're getting the job done. The Mets are a little bit scary. Their offense is just as bad, so that's a scary team there, the Mets. So, added something new for this time. I was able to make a list of some players that are on the disabled list as of May 18th. So we got some notable guys here. This list is everybody who's currently on it, but some notable injuries from the American League. We got All-Star catcher Lance Parrish for the Tigers. He's on a 2-game DL. All-Star second baseman for the Royals, Frank White. He's also 2 games. So isn't the Tigers shortstop Alan Trammell for 2 games. Reggie Jackson for the Angels is 6 games out. Greg Walker, who started the year on fire, has cooled off significantly and also lands himself on the 8-game DL for the White Sox. Robin Yount also lands himself on the DL for 8 games. And Carlton Fisk, in a big blow to the White Sox this week, lose Carlton Fisk for at least 15 games. He won't come back until the end of May. And then you see a couple other 15 gamers. On the National League, not so many. We got Tim Wallach. He's only missing a game for the Expos. Sid Bream for the Pirates. He's been their RBI machine this year. He's on 5 games. And then Wally Backman for the Mets. That's going to hurt them a little bit. Not a great defensive second baseman, but he's a pretty good offensive threat, and he's good on the base pads. So now he's going to be out for 15 games. So these are the players who are out for how many games, and then the dates are their expected return. I know we started off the very first video by talking about some milestones. So we're going to kind of catch ourselves up on them and where they are at. If you were listening earlier, Don Sutton did collect his 300th victory earlier in the week over the Red Sox, and he collected his 301st victory towards the end of the week against the Tigers. So congratulations to Don Sutton with his 300th and 301st victory of the year. Steve Carlton, he's trying to get to that 4,000 strikeouts and 5,000 innings pitched. This is what he's currently at now. He's got 47 more strikeouts to go before he hits that 4,000. If he stays healthy, he should be able to do more than 5,000 innings and get over 4,000 strikeouts. Bert Blyleven, we're more concerned about him getting to his 3,000th strikeout. His past couple starts haven't been that great striking out players, but he has 49 totals so far for the season. He's about 76 away. So at this pace, probably almost towards the end of the year, he's going to surpass the 3,000 strikeouts. And finally, we got Mike Schmidt, who's having an okay season so far. Not the best, just having a slightly okay season. He's been hurt twice. He's went on the DL both times for 8 games, so that's kind of hurt him a little bit. He does have 6 home runs this year. He's trying to get to the 500 mark. At this point now, he needs about 36 more. It's possible, but the way he started this season, he better get hot, or we might have to wait till 87 for him to get past the 500 home run mark. So these are the 4 top guys trying to get something significant with their milestones. I do have like a list of like 25 players trying to do a couple milestone things, but nothing as significant as getting your 300 victory or 4,000 strikeout or 500 home run or 3,000 strikeout. So these are the 4 that we're kind of closely monitoring, and maybe once a month or maybe once every couple of weeks I'll throw on their stats to see if they could get it broken. They said Don Sutton got his 6th victory, 300 and 301st victory for his career. So congratulations to Don, and he's having a pretty good year for the Angels. His record is 6-2. So some AL leaders. As of the 18th, we got rookie first baseman Wally Joyner hitting .391. George Bell of the Toronto Blue Jays, tied with Dave Kingman and his teammate Jesse Barfield with 11 home runs. Bill Buckner for the Red Sox, slowly having a decent RBI season with 44. Dave Kingman with 40. And stolen bases, Gary Pettis. He's at 36 stolen bases this year. He started off red hot this year. The last couple weeks he hasn't been hitting so well, but he still gets on base and he still gets 1 or 2 steals a game. So he's on a good stretch. Ricky's trying to catch him. Ricky's not getting on base as much as he wants. As for the pitching, starting pitcher Dennis Rasmussen for the Yankees. He's 7-1 with a 1.77 ERA. He's having a decent year with the Yankees. Again, him and Tom Candiotti both have 7 wins. Tom Candiotti definitely the brightest spot on that Cleveland Indians rotation. Roger Clemens leads the league in strikeouts with 72. He put up 18 his last start against the Rangers that the Red Sox won 2-1 in 15. So 72 strikeouts. He started off cold. He's starting to get red hot. And then the California Angels closer, Donnie Moore, 15 saves. He's like automatic. Automatically comes in, automatically shuts it down. 15 saves so far. And as for the National League, we got second baseman for the Dodgers, Steve Sachs, in .355. And our friend, Mr. Padre, Tony Gwynn, hitting .354, doing what Tony does, getting on base. Home runs, Darryl Strawberry has 11 home runs this season. He's actually, even though he has 11 home runs, he's actually having a pretty disappointing season from what I could see. When we get a chance to go through some of the team's stats later on covering, I think he's hitting like .218 with 11 home runs and like 25 RBIs. So he's hitting the home run, but it's like either hits the ball or he strikes out. So let's see if he could kind of get some of those numbers up to like the mid 250, 260. And a little bit of shocker here, George Foster for the Mets. He's taken over that left field and DH position pretty well for the Mets. 28 RBIs. And as you can see, he's hitting .336 for the Mets too. Very consistent. So he's tied with Kevin Boss and Andre Dawson. And in no surprise with stealing bases, Vince Coleman has 39 stolen bases. Steve Sax is 37. Coleman, every time he's on base, he's stealing. Problem with him, he's hitting .212, and he can't get on base as much. So if he hit like Steve Sax, he'd probably have about 60 or 70 stolen bases by now. Even though he had a pretty beat-up game against the Mets his last start, starting pitcher for the Astros, Mike Scott, a .90 ERA. He's still dominating. His last game he got beat up a little bit. Bob Welch, he picks up his 7th victory. Mike Scott has 70 strikeouts. And as for saves, Dodgers Ken Howell and the Reds John Franco. 12 saves. So that's your National League leaders. And again, I'm going to add something new for this time. I think we're going to do a little bit of a spotlight on the divisions. And I think we're going to start off this spotlight with the National League West. So here is the current division and how it's set up. The Dodgers are currently in first place with a 25-13 record. They're 3.5 games up on the Astros, who are 20-15. Padres 19-18. They're 5.5 back. And the Giants, who've been hit with the injury bug the last 4 weeks, is bringing up the bottom with 15 wins and 22 losses after a pretty good 2 weeks to start the season. They're 9.5 back. So we're going to take a quick look at the Houston Astros. So this is their batting. And this is how I keep track of it. I do have some highlighted team leaders here, as you could see. I have some things to kind of note as I'm going through this. You'll try to keep the same system. Anyone who's on injured, I highlight them yellow, as you can see there, so I know that they're going to be out for how many games. If you see any players that are green with that little trademark next to it, those are rookies. And anybody in purple are going to be players that are either going to be coming on the team later via trade or being signed by free agency. So I usually mark them all in purple, so they haven't been, these guys are currently not on the Astros at this time. And I have, after the June 2nd, Dan Dressen, after July 21st, Davey Lopes, and then Dale Berra after August 4th. So those guys will be joining. If you do notice, all the way to the right, where you see all the games, that last column there, those are the actual games they played in '86 total. It's not just with the team, it's wherever they played. So that kind of gives me a good understanding as I'm playing along to kind of match where what they did and what they played, to kind of keep accurate with the Strat-O-Matic baseball cards. But again, like I've been saying since the first video, if a guy is hitting the cover off the ball and he's only played like 15 games, he's going to play more than 15 games if he keeps on doing what he's doing. So, again, I'm using that more of a guideline, but you'll see that on others. And I'm also keeping track of all the way down the corner. I know it's hard to see, but in red, left on base. So that's the total of players left on base through all their games up to this point. So we can't do the batting without doing the pitching. So here are the Houston Astros pitching. And again, it's kind of the same concept. The purple are players that are going to be coming on the team. Green are the rookies. And to establish, for me, when I'm playing, so I don't have to look at the cards every 5 seconds, if you see for the pitchers, I kind of, the black text is righties, and like that goldish is my lefties. So that helps me without looking at the cards sometimes. So we got pretty much everything here. I calculate as I go through. And again, just like the offensive players, the columns at the end are the games started and games and pitched. These are the actual games totals that they did in 86 with the games that they played in. They started. Again, I'm trying to be accurate with them. But again, it all depends. As you can see, there's rookie Mark Knudsen. He's already been in 7 games. He started 6, and in 86 he only started 7 and pitched 9. Am I gonna stop when I get to that 7th or 9th? Probably not, but I might use him more in relief. If you could see, he's at a 7.01 ERA. He's 0-5, so he's the 5th man on that rotation, and he's getting bombed compared to the other guys. So I might have to, substitute, bring in maybe Mike Madden to pitch a couple games, and then when I could get Danny Darwin and Matt Koch in, I'll have him probably start. So unless Mark Knudsen has 2 good starts to kind of lower that ERA, he's probably going to be around that 9 games, 10 games. So I don't know. Okay, so enough of that. Let's go to the next team. Next team is the Los Angeles Dodgers. And again, same concept. I'm not going to draw on here. This is their up-to-the-date statistics. I keep track of all this in Excel, so it's easier to keep the statistics. So again, you could easily pause this and look through the players and see how they're doing. So we're going to go on to the Dodgers pitching rotation. Same thing here. If I didn't mention it with the Astros too, it's something I kind of forgot. If they are highlighted in that green, like Fernando, Bob Welch, and Oral Hershiser, those are the pitchers that could actually start after 4 days rest. I just marked that so I could keep track of that. I'm not really doing that yet because it's still early in the season. Once we get, into August and September, where every game is a little bit more crucial, I might start having some of these guys start after 3 or 4 games. So, but that's something I haven't got to yet, but I'm marking them all so I know, instead of reaching out to looking at the charts all the time. So we got the San Diego Padres. Same thing, same concept. Got a lot of players here. And again, you could look through to see how the players are doing. And here is the Padres pitching staff. Pretty beat up a little bit. They're starting to get on track just slightly. But they're not out of it yet. They're still doing their thing. And then we got the San Francisco Giants. And that's how they are doing. And then, as you can see down the bottom, Dan Dressen, he got released in 86 on the 9th. So, like I said in the first video, I'm going to stay true to that aspect. You know, he hit 250, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs in 16 games. Not the best, but I mean, I probably wouldn't have cut him with those numbers. But again, I'm going to follow that. So he's currently released, and he does sign with the Astros probably in a week or two after the 9th. So, and we go to the pitching. There are the Giants pitching staff. So that is the spotlight of the National League West. When I come back with the next video for week 7, I'll pick another division to do. I try to keep this concept. I know everybody has been commenting on the stats and how you're following along. I do appreciate everybody watching the videos. So I added some more statistics for you guys to look over. This is a little bit better concept. So I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys keep on following. And again, we still got a long way to go. We only through 6 weeks. So hopefully your team that you're rooting for is doing good. And any teams that are not doing so good, maybe they could turn it around. I'm getting close to starting the advanced side. So in about a week or so, or probably a little bit less than a month, I'll be starting playing games in the advanced mode. It's been really fun up to this point. I've enjoyed doing this. I have read over some house rules that people do. If you have a house rule and you want to add it to the comment, go right ahead. You know, I might pick it up and use it in my games. You know, that's the good thing about this fantasy recap. You can kind of mold it to what you like and what you don't like. Again, I'm solely new to this, so anyone that has, you know, any house rules that you use, and just throw them out in the comments. I'll read them. Looks like there's possibility that there's going to be a major 6-team trade in the following week, in week 7. I know I said that I probably wasn't going to really do any trades, but these are trades of my own that have nothing to do with what happened in 86. I kind of looked over every team, kind of see where we could add some help for some of these teams. So there is in the works a major 6-team trade deal. More will be explained about that in the week 7. So for now, I hope everyone has enjoyed this. Again, leave your comments. I do read them, you know, good or bad, doesn't matter. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you guys like these videos. If there's anything you guys would like to see that I possibly might be able to add, I'll see if I could do it. But again, enjoy. Keep following. I'll try to get through as many games as I can to get these posted. Again, I wanted to get this done every 2 weeks. I think this is 3 weeks. You know, life does happen. So I want to try to get week 7 out, which in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for following. Thank you for viewing. And as always, guys, play ball.